Oh man, it's a beautiful day. Welcome back to another episode of Halfway Up Podcast. And I call it Halfway Up because you're never finished rising. And this episode, I want to dedicate to the people who struggle with people pleasing. Anybody who struggles with people pleasing. I want to dedicate this episode to you because I was once a people pleasing. I probably still people please in some ways, but in a lot of ways, I've really changed. I've really grown out of those old habits because I understand that it didn't serve me anymore. I understand that it wasn't the type of life that I wanted to live, you know? I understand that people pleasing should be a phase in your life, but not a lifestyle, you know? And I had to get out of the lifestyle of being a people pleaser, and now it's just a phase. And maybe that phase comes back sometimes, maybe it doesn't, but for the most part, I live my life more in control to the way that I want to live it, specifically. You get what I'm saying? And as we get into all of these things, I want you to understand that nothing happens overnight. I want you to understand that nothing happens immediately. Change is a slow process. Whenever you take a picture of yourself 3 years ago, and then 3 years pass and you look back at that picture, you didn't even realize how much weight you had gained. You didn't even realize how different you look because it wasn't until time went on and you changed that now it's clear to you when you look back. That's why they say hindsight is 2020 because when you look back, you can see what was actually there. So I say that to say, please be patient with yourself if you're on this journey of changing old habits because it's never easy to change old habits. It's never easy. It never is. But with some willpower, some commitment, and some consistency, you can do anything. There's nothing that you can't do, man. The world really belongs to you as long as you're willing to claim it. So the first thing that we got to do is we got to identify what a people pleaser is. A people pleaser is somebody with low self-esteem. A people pleaser is somebody who has a fear of rejection. A people pleaser is somebody who seeks constant validation. A people pleaser is somebody who apologizes for shit that they didn't do. A people pleaser is somebody who's going to avoid conflict at all costs. Somebody who has a fear of rejection. And I understand that you get these traits and you get these qualities and it becomes your personality. And the reason why people pleasers exist in the first place is because they probably had a traumatic past. And these are the coping mechanisms that they found. These are the coping mechanisms that they use to survive. They just trying to live their life, man. They just trying to make it one day at a time. And this is the best that they can do. This is what they think they have to do to increase their chances of just surviving, being accepted, maximizing their life to their full potential. This is what they do. They just using their coping mechanisms to the best of their ability because they've been hurt before, because somebody let them down before, because somebody didn't protect them, because somebody made them feel dumb, somebody made them feel small, somebody made them feel insignificant. And this is what they do to just try to guarantee that they just make it through the day. And I get that because I'm somebody who used to have a really low sense of self-esteem as well. Trust me, like I totally understand it. That's why I can speak on it. I'm never speaking on nothing that I don't have experience in. I'm never speaking on nothing that I don't understand myself personally. You know what I mean? Like I have wisdom to give on the situation because being a people pleaser used to be a lifestyle instead of a phase. You know, it was my life. It was my persona. I embodied it. I embodied this lack of confidence. I embodied this lack of high self-esteem. I embodied this lack of self-worth. I embodied it. You know, it was who I was. It was something that people could perceive off of me when they met me. You know, I know that this is the energy that I gave off once upon a time. And the only way that I changed it is I practice. Every single day, instead of going left, I decided to go right. Instead of going right, I decided to go left. Instead of constantly making those choices that a people pleaser would make, I decided to go the opposite way. I decided to make another choice. And eventually, you continue making the right choices until you change. I think they say it takes 30 days to break a habit, which means that it probably takes 30 days to build one. So if you can find it within yourself, set aside 30 days, man, of just doing something that you usually wouldn't do. You know? Stop doing the thing that you know a people pleaser would do. Stop doing that thing, and eventually you're going to stop having that mind frame. Eventually, the way you think about things is going to change completely, and then you're going to stop doing those same things. And you're going to start doing new things. You're going to start making decisions you can be proud of. You're going to start coming off as somebody that people want to be around. You're going to start coming off as the person that you want to actually be. So give some grace to yourself while you're trying to change. You know what I'm saying? Give some grace to yourself. Understand that growth is a very slow process, so you got to be patient with yourself. It's not going to happen overnight, but as long as you want to do it, it can be done. I promise you that, because you're looking at somebody who did it. So yeah, man, this episode is all about people pleasers. This is specifically for the people pleasers. And in this episode, per usual, just like always, I'm going to give you 5 things that you can start practicing today. 5 things that you can start practicing to become less and less like a people pleaser. You know, you want to become this more confident version of yourself that you know is in there somewhere deep down inside. Well, if you start practicing these things, you're going to get one step closer to becoming that person. I promise you. Stop saying yes when you really mean no. Why do you say yes and put yourself in situations where you're the loser when you really mean no? When somebody asks you to do something, when somebody asks you for a favor, when somebody asks you, can you go somewhere with me? Can you take this extra shift? Can you do this extra thing for me? Can you babysit my kids? Can you help me do this? As you listening to them people talk to you, you know that the answer is no. You know the answer is no. But for some reason, you tell the people yes. And the reason why you tell them yes is because you think that if you tell them no, that you might be perceived as a bad person. You think that if you tell them no, that that means that you're no longer a good person. You think that if you tell them no, that that means that they're going to look at you differently, that they're not going to love you the same, that they're not going to want to be your friend anymore. And I want to let you know that if any of those things are true, that means that person is not really your friend in the first place. That probably means that person should not be in your life. If you feel compelled to say yes out of fear of rejection, that if you say no, that means that they're going to look at you differently and they're going to judge you, then that person probably doesn't need to be in your life. And that's easier said than done, but I need you to choose you versus choosing them. I need you to stop saying yes when you really mean no, because you're the person that loses in that situation. You saying yes to something that as you're listening to those people ask you for that favor, or they're asking you that thing, or they're telling you that thing, you already know that the answer is no. But your lack of self-worth and your lack of self-esteem compels you to say yes. And now you find yourself getting into things that you don't even really want to be a part of. Now you find yourself being places that you don't want to be. Now you find yourself having conversations that you don't really want to have. You find yourself in parties that you really don't want to be at. You find yourself taking extra shifts at work that you really didn't want to take. Every time you say yes when you really mean no, you're accepting a burden. And you're accepting that burden because you don't think of yourself highly enough to value your time. And that's the problem. Clearly that person values their time, which is why they're asking you to do the thing, or they're asking you to come with them, right? Saying yes when you really mean no is just a clear sign that you don't value your time. And that's the problem. The reason why people become CEOs of companies and then they hire people like you, which is the employee, to do the work that they don't want to do is because they have found a way to manage and value their time. They don't have time to be doing the little tasks. They rather pay somebody else to do the little task, give them a couple dollars that person thinks is more than enough because they don't have the bigger picture in their mind to make the big money. They have no idea that you can make $50,000 in a month. They rather spend their time working hard 365 days a year to make $50,000 a year, if that even. And that's what I mean about the difference between the value of time. Whenever you say yes to something that you really mean no to, you're not valuing your time. And you're not valuing your time because there's a lack of self-worth. Then you will realize it's okay to say no because that's going to take away from your very limited and valuable time. It's all about time, and you don't value your time because you don't value yourself. Every single time you say yes when you really mean no, you are devaluing your time. You are accepting a burden upon your life. And you're accepting that burden because you don't even see it as a big enough problem. You might complain about it later, but you didn't care about it enough to say no in that moment. I want you to start exercising the power of saying no. Because the power of saying no will relinquish you and set you free from a lot of things that you don't even really want to be a part of. And if your worst fear in that situation is that the person is going to look at you differently, if your worst fear is that the person is not going to see you the same, if they're going to judge you, if they're not going to want to be around you anymore, that person that doesn't really care about you. And however much you think that they care about you, or however much they say that they care about you, they don't care about you nearly enough to respect your decision. When somebody really loves you, if somebody really cares about you, if they ask you to do something or be a part of something that you don't really want to do and you tell them no, they're going to respect it. And then they're going to find another way to solve that problem because it's really their problem. It's their problem that they're trying to make yours. And if you accept it, it no longer becomes their problem. And that's what I mean about you're accepting burdens, because sometimes people ask people to do things for them to save their time because clearly they value their time, which is why they're trying to pass it off to somebody else. And then you just so happen to be the person that they know that might accept the job. And that's the thing, like when you're a people pleaser, people can feel that energy, even if they love you, even if they care about you. Whenever they got something that they don't want to do, they're like, damn, who can I pass this off to? I promise you, out of all of the people that they're considering, they're never asking the most confident person. They're never even considering the most confident person. That person is the last on the list of people that they want to ask favors for because they know that there's a great chance that person's going to say no. Want to know why? Because that person values their time. You know who the first person they're going to ask? You, the people pleaser, the person that they know is more likely to bend. I don't want you to be like that. It's not that you can't say yes to things. If you're a nice person, okay, great. Be a kind person. That's a beautiful thing. We need more kind people in this life. But at the same time, I don't want you to be the type of person that when people are thinking, who can I pass off this shit job to? I don't want them thinking it's you. I want them to think twice. I want you to be at the bottom of that list just like the confident person because confident people give off an energy such that people know that they can't easily be fucked with. And they know that they value their time. And they know that if they bring something to their attention, that it has to be worth their time. You got to bring a significant deal to the table. And if it's not significant, they're not even going to bring it to them because they know the chances of them saying no is very likely. It's very likely. So please, stop saying yes when you really mean no, because you're the only person that hurts from it. You're the only person that ends up doing something that you don't want to do, ends up being somewhere that you don't want to be. Value your time. Every time you say yes to something when you really mean no, it's just a sign that you don't value your time. And it's a sign that the self-esteem part of you is stronger than the confident version of you. We need to make the low self-esteem part of who you are way smaller and make the confident version of yourself way bigger. You get what I'm saying? And I understand that people say yes out of a fear of rejection. You say yes because you don't want people thinking differently of you. You don't want your character being questioned. But I promise you, the right people in your life, the people that are meant to be around, the people that truly appreciate you and value you for who you are, they're not going to look at you differently. They're just going to keep it moving. They're not going to charge it to your character personally. They're not going to see you as a different person or see you as less than all because you're standing up for yourself. Nobody who truly respects you and nobody who truly loves you and values you is going to see you differently or less than because you decided that this is not best for me. Nobody's going to do that. But if they do make you feel that way, and if you do feel compelled to say yes when you really mean no, I want you to consider, does this person really care about me? And how much do I really care about this person? Maybe I need to evaluate how much love I'm extending to that person because that love is not reciprocal. Maybe that love is not going both ways 50-50, you know? So maybe you need to pull back some of the love. Maybe you need to pull back some of the generosity and some of the beautiful energy that you're extending to that person because they might not be extending that energy back. And you should go where you appreciate it, not where you tolerate it. The second thing that I want my people pleasers to think about is stop apologizing for shit when you ain't do nothing wrong. Why is it that every single time you enter in a room, the same time somebody exiting it, you gotta say sorry? Before you apologize for something to some stranger that you don't even know, because I see this happen in the workplace all the time, I want you to ask yourself, did I do anything wrong? And if the answer is no, if the answer is I didn't do anything wrong, then what are you apologizing for? Because apologizing is taking a position of I did something wrong. When you apologize, it's taking the role of being guilty. When you apologize, it's taking the role of being wrong. And you got to ask yourself, before you apologize, are you wrong? Did you do anything bad? The answer is probably no. You probably didn't do anything wrong at all, but you're allowing yourself to be guilty of something, even though you're not guilty of anything. And it's a power dynamic that you got to shift out of. And I understand that people apologize as a default, right? You mean it as a courtesy. When you apologize for something, even though you know you didn't do anything wrong, it's really your way of saying, excuse me, or it's really your way of saying, thank you, or pardon me, or no, you go ahead. To apologize is to admit your guilt or your fault in a scenario. I want to challenge you to find different ways to extend your courtesy to people. Instead of apologizing, maybe say, excuse me, or pardon me, or please, go ahead. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I understand that you're trying to express to somebody that you're a good person, but I want you to find a better way to do it in a way where you don't have to apologize to get that job done, you know? There's better ways. Like sometimes in a work environment, whenever you leave in the bathroom and then somebody's entering the bathroom and they're on the other side of the door, people apologize. It's like, what are you apologizing for? Because I'm leaving at the same time that you're entering inside this room? That's not a good reason to apologize, bro. That's not a good reason because you didn't do anything wrong, and neither did they. And I understand that it's common courtesy, especially in the workforce, especially in the workplace, to just apologize for shit. You reaching for something at the same time that somebody else is reaching for something, you apologize. There's no need to. Instead, say, pardon me. Or extend your hand out and be like, no, like I yield you the floor. Or whenever you're talking and there's somebody else talking at the same time, you don't gotta apologize for that. You can be like, you go ahead. No, please, I'll wait. You can exercise grace and you can exercise hospitality and good manners in a way where you never have to take the position of somebody who's at fault. You don't have to be somebody that's at fault just because you're trying to be courteous or you're trying to be just good nature to human beings. And I really applaud you because I understand that that's your way of extending generosity and being courteous to people. But I would love to challenge you to find another way to do it. Find another way to do it, because if you didn't do anything wrong, I don't want you to assume a wrongful position. Instead, live in your truth. You should only be apologizing if you're at fault. You should only be apologizing if you're guilty, if you've done something wrong and now you have to clear your name. You should only be apologizing when your morality is within question and now you have to clear your name and you have to prove yourself differently from how they might perceive you. That's the only time you should be apologizing. If your morality is not in question, if your character is not in question, then it means you didn't do anything wrong. Stop appeasing people's egos just so you can come off as a good person. Stop appeasing people's egos just so that you cannot come off as a threat. I get it. You're saying sorry because you're trying to avoid conflict, right? But there is no real conflict. Ask yourself, what's the worst that's going to happen? If I don't apologize, if I don't say sorry, what's the worst thing that could actually happen to me? The answer is probably nothing. You're not going to lose your job. The person's not going to hit you. They're not about to get physically violent with you. Nobody's about to beat your ass. So then when you really look at it, like, there's no reason to apologize, because the worst case scenario is never going to happen to you. It's not going to happen. You okay. And I also understand that we apologize because we're so anxious, but I need you to calm down. I need you to relax. I need you to realize that the worst case scenario is not going to happen to you. You don't have to apologize for things that you didn't do. You just don't have to, because everything's going to be okay. Nobody's going to think you're a bad person because you didn't apologize. Nobody's going to think less of you. And if they do, those are not your people. Those are not people that need to be in your orbit. They need to be in your life in the first place. They don't need to be around. You need to be around people that don't make you feel less than because you don't apologize for things that you didn't do. You can extend the same level of generosity and kindness and graciousness without apologizing. There are better ways to let people know that you're a good person, I promise you. And you don't have to assume the guilt of something that you're not guilty of. The third thing that I want my people pleasers to understand is that being assertive does not mean that you're mean. Being assertive, being confident, walking in a room with your chest out and your chin up, it doesn't mean that you're the bad guy. It doesn't mean that you're an evil person. If anybody tries to make you feel like because you want to live a confident life that means you're a bad person, that person is not for you. Because I want you to understand something about assertive people. When assertive people walk into the room, the people that like to play games, the people that like to play in the shadows and play in manipulation and lie, and they like to live in negativity, they understand that as soon as that person come in the room, that is the last person that I'm about to fuck with. You know the type of people that they do fuck with? The people pleasers, the people who have low self-esteem, the people who have a low sense of awareness, the people that are not confident. Negative people know who to play with. They always play with the people that are the easiest to control first. They always play with the people that they think are the easiest to control. They never play with somebody that they know that's going to fight back, because that person gives off the energy that they can't be played with. And that's how I want you to live your life. I want you to give the type of energy off where you're not perceived as a bad guy, you're not perceived as an evil person, but people know that when you come into the room, that when you speak, they know that you can't be played with. Because there's two kind of people in this world. It's people that come off like they can be manipulated and taken advantage of, and there's other people that they know cannot. And there's other people that give off this confidence, they give off this aura, they give off this persona that they can't be manipulated, that they can't be played with. You can't make them feel small because they already feel big. They have a high level of self-esteem and a strong sense of awareness. They know who they are. So you can't tell them that they're somebody that they're not. You can't make them feel small. They value themselves, they value their time. You can't push them in some hole they don't belong in because they're assertive. Being assertive just means you say what you mean and you mean what you say, and that's a beautiful quality. That quality attracts people to you. People want to give that person the job. People want to give that person the opportunity. People want to be on that person's team. When it's time to appoint somebody the leader, they're looking to that person. They're looking to the people that give those qualities and give those traits. They're not looking to the docile person. They're not looking to the person who look like they can't handle nothing. They're not looking to the person who look like as soon as a little pressure come around that they might fall apart and they might crumble. You get what I'm saying? They're not looking to that person. Being assertive is meant to protect you. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It means that when you go through this life, it shows that you're equipped and you're ready for whatever might come. Being assertive just means that you're ready for life and you're not going to let anybody treat you any kind of way. And we should all feel that way. We should all be giving off that impression. I know when I come into a room, I'm not somebody that people think that they can just take advantage of and they can do whatever they want with. I'm not somebody that people can just say whatever they want to say and think that I'm not going to say something back or that I'm not going to defend myself. And that's the gift that being assertive grants you. When you're an assertive person, people know that you cannot be played with. You're the last person on that list of people that they want to try. You're the last person because they know you're going to try them back. They know that you're not just going to, when you're assertive, you letting people know I'm not a punching bag. You can't just do whatever you want to do with me. I'm going to punch you back. I'm going to fight you back. I'm going to do whatever I got to do to defend myself because I know my self-worth, because I know my self-value. Being assertive doesn't mean you're a mean person. It just means that you love yourself a lot, too much to let somebody who doesn't love themselves to come and manipulate me. The fourth thing that I want my people pleasers to think about is validate yourself instead of looking for others to do it for you. Instead of looking for other people to validate how important you are, to validate how significant you are, Instead of waiting on people to tell you that you're important so you can feel important, why don't you feel important yourself? If people had more confidence, if people just felt better about being in their own bodies, a lot of these things would not be a problem. But a lot of these things come from a lack of confidence. It comes from avoiding conflict. It comes from being traumatized from your past. A lot of these things can be avoided if we just bring more confidence in our life. Confidence is positivity. Insecurity is negativity. You either on one side of the spectrum or the other. So we need to bring more confidence in our lives. And whenever we're seeking somebody else's validation, we're seeking somebody else's approval to feel good about ourselves, it's a sign that you're not confident. Let me tell you something about this life. It's going to be a very lonely life if you only decide to feel confident when somebody tells you good things about yourself. That's like saying I'm only going to eat when somebody decides to feed me. I can't live like that, man. It's not a sustainable way to live your life. Instead, I need you to understand that you can cook your own food. You can eat when you get ready to. You can feel confident because you want to feel confident, not because somebody say something nice to you, not because somebody decide to believe in you and decide to give you a little bit of attention. My confidence and my sense of self-worth is not going to be attached to how much attention somebody wants to give me. Because the real truth is that nobody's ever going to do a perfect job at giving you what you need. Everybody's going to let you down in some type of capacity. Even the best people in your life, nobody can be there for you 100% of the time. And I can't allow the happiness that I feel in my life to only be attached to how much somebody shows up for me. Why don't you show up for yourself? Why don't you believe in yourself? Why don't you come through and give yourself what you need? Because you know what you need. You're you. You're literally living inside of your body, bro. You feel the feels. You feel the emotions. You're going through the feelings every single day. So go get what it is that you believe that you need. Look yourself in the mirror and tell yourself positive things. Tell yourself what you need to hear. If you don't believe in yourself, say, I believe in me. Look yourself in the eye, in the mirror, and say, I believe in me. Say, I love you. Say, I appreciate you. Say, you're beautiful. Say, I'm attractive. Say, I'm creative. Say whatever it is that you know that you need to hear so you can create your own validation. Maybe you got somebody in your life and they tell you good things all the time, and that's working for you because it's boosting your morale. It's keeping you feeling good. Maybe that's working for you right now. But what about the day when it's not? What about the day when those people stop? What happens when they turn that water off? What you gonna do then? What you gonna do then? You gonna run out of your confidence? You can't be addicted to people's approval. You need to be self-sustainable and have your own sense of approval. That way, no matter where you go, you can always feel good there. My man Luther Vandross said a house is not a home because it's not about where you live, it's about how you feel in the place that you live. There are people that have nothing that are happier than people that have everything because it's about how they feel in the inside. Inside of you is where your true home is. And you'll never really feel comfortable. You'll never really truly feel at home, or you'll always constantly be chasing something you don't have if you don't get to a place where you accept your own validation. And the fifth thing that I want my people pleasers to understand is that your real friends are going to accept you for who you are, something that we've been saying through this entire podcast. Your real friends are going to accept you for who you are. If you feel like you got to be this small version of yourself for people to fuck with you, then they don't fuck with you. If you feel like you got to be this small, turned down, suppressed version of yourself to coexist, if you feel like that's the person that you got to be to fit in your friend group, to fit in your relationship, to fit in your dynamic at work, then that place is not for you. Because as a human being, you should be living within your full potential. You don't know how much time we got left. I'm going to always say that because it's so true. People transitioning, going to the other side of the nebula at all different ages, man. All different ages. And you never know when it's going to be your time. You don't want to be out here not living within your full potential. You want to know that when you leave this earth, if there's an opportunity, that you leave full, that you leave knowing that you experienced all the things that you wanted to experience, that you leave knowing that you did all the things that you wanted to do. You tried all the career paths. You wore all the styles. You wore all the clothes. You cooked all the foods. You traveled to all the places. You really reached out to the person that you want to be with. You know what I mean? Like, you proved to yourself what you was capable of. This is the type of life that you want to live. And anybody that actually loves you will never make you feel bad for wanting to do that. And if they try to make you feel bad, they're not your friend. I don't care how much you love them. I don't care how much you appreciate them. I don't care if once upon a time they used to be this great person, but then they change. If it's not serving you today, hey, bro. You should be putting people on unlimited time. You should be putting people on a short leash, and you should be putting people on timers. You should put people on timers. I understand that maybe you got somebody in your life and they changed, or they're changing because they also going through something. All right, cool. I get that. But you can't wait forever. You can't allow somebody to continue to be bad to you. You just can't wait. You just can't wait to do that. Your real friends gonna love you for who you are, and more importantly, your real friends gonna love you for who you're trying to be. And if you don't have that person in your life, if you don't have those type of people that accept you for who you are and where you're trying to go, I want you to understand that it's okay to separate yourself from them people, because as you going along your journey, you're gonna find somebody that will. As you're going along your journey, you're gonna find somebody that accepts you for exactly who you are. You're gonna meet people that see the new version of you. They don't even know the old version of you. All they see is the version of you that you're presenting to them right now in this moment. That's what your life is gonna look like. I moved far away from my home, man. I don't live in Dallas, Texas anymore, and I've met new friends, people that appreciate me and value me and respect me. And it's not that they didn't respect me back home, but I'm saying, like, don't be afraid for change. Don't be afraid to try new things. I promise you, life continues to get better. It's good people all around this globe. It's good people all around this planet. And we're not running out of good people. Forget what social media say. Forget what the internet, or forget what newspapers or whatever it is you watching the news. You shouldn't be watching the news in the first place, but forget what them people got to say. There's good people everywhere, and don't rob yourself of an opportunity to experience that. You get what I'm saying? Your real friends will love you for who you really are. You don't got to suppress yourself. Be who it is that you want to be. Wear the colors that you want to wear. Wear the clothes that you want to wear. Be confident. Make your jokes. You know what I mean? Tell yourself you look good. They know, but nobody gonna make you feel bad when they really there for you. They want you to be your best, because when you're your best version of yourself, you're the best version for me too. When you're good for you, that means you're good for me, and that means we're good together. That means there's a synergy. A synergy means that we bring two separate entities together to be greater than they were individually, to be greater than they were separately. I just learned that. Because whenever I hear a word that I don't fully understand, I Google the definition of it, because I like to use my phone for good reasons, other than bullshit. Because I definitely use my phone for that too. But my point being, listen, man, your real friends, they will accept you for who you really are. I promise you that. And that's it, man. This is just the message that I want to give to the people pleasers out there. All my people pleasers, all my people who have a low self-esteem, all my people who struggle with avoiding conflict, all my people who have a constant need to seek approval from others instead of seeking approval from themselves, everybody who's seeking validation from other people instead of validating themselves, all the people who just trying to recover from their past because it was traumatic, and now these are the new coping mechanisms, being a people pleaser. Because being a people pleaser is just a big coping mechanism. It's things that you picked up to survive. You want to survive. You're trying to get through this life as easy as you can, man, because people made you feel like you can't just be you. People made you feel small. I want to let you know it's never too late to start healing. I want to let you know that it's never too late to decide that I want to be different. This is your life. Last time I checked, I washed my own ass. Last time I checked, I'm responsible for putting food in my stomach. So stop sharing that power with other people. Don't allow somebody else to be your God. It's only one God. And that God wants you to be as beautiful as you were destined and designed to be. Nothing less than that. And anybody that's trying to get you to be less than that, they don't need to be in your circle anymore. And with that being said, man, I wish you well on your people-pleasing journey. I hope that you find a way to stop doing it. I hope that you find a way to be bigger than that. I love you. Please leave a rating and review of the podcast. I hope you've enjoyed these beautiful New York City autumn and fall vibes. It won't be here forever, but it will come again. And remember, and before we get out of here, man, you already know the mantra, the religion, man, the outros. Youth is temporary, but health is forever. And whenever I'm working, I will remember that done is better than perfect. And if I'm satisfied with my work, then that means that I'm living in my purpose, man. Go live your life and be fruitful, man. Enjoy yourself. Peace.